Hello, Raymond.
Hello,
We're
Safa.
so honored to have you on KACHAI today.
Thank you so much.
You turned 23 in October. You're the youngest senior face on our TVs. Where do you want to be at age 30?
At 30, maybe that's an overstretch. That's 7 years from now. I'll probably be still doing the same things, storytelling, but maybe finding new ways of telling stories. I'd probably want to see a couple of things change. I'd love to see more people get included in the news. The voices that can't make it to the news because they don't have social media accounts or they can't be reached by media broadcasts. I'd love to see those get involved in the news. I'd love to be in a more democratic country. I have no qualms about that. Maybe at a personal level, family life, have my own family perhaps. Grow old with them, learn to love for them, learn to care for them. Yes, so in the near future really it will be storytelling and family. I don't see anything different. This is definitely the line you want to continue with. Yes, it's the line I want to continue with. I don't think I'll veer off into, say, politics or law or what. No, I'll still be the same old me. Storytelling, different aspects. You quit law school with just a few papers to go. How did your parents take this decision? And how did you know that it would pay off at that time, if at all you knew? So, my parents knew from the start. They probably anticipated it. Because my father always mooted the idea, are you really serious about this law thing? But yes, I was serious about law, but I was also serious about journalism. And I was first in journalism before I was in law. In my vacation, I did a couple of things with journalism. When it reached the point where I had to make the decision, because then it was required of me that I transfer from here to Kenya, in which case I'd not sit my papers here, and in which case the law school would not grant me a year away. I sat down and thought by myself, between my passion and what the law is, what do I want to go with? And I chose the path that I thought was strong at my heart, so I took journalism over law. My parents initially didn't talk to me for almost a month coming to 2 months. My father stopped watching the news, which was, of course, was negative energy at the start. But with time, I think the idea that my passion was going to overshadow what they wanted for me as a profession came up. And they became supportive. Right now, they are the first to call when the bulletin comes, and they're like, Raymond, I like your tie. I'm like, yes, ma'am, thank you so much. Yes, so they've since adapted to the decision. Okay, that's lovely. And what would you say was the turning point of your life? Turning point? I think that was it. That was it. Because I was offered an opportunity, very grand opportunity, by Nation Media Group to advance my career. And I never used to take my job as serious until this opportunity came along. And then I started to see a future in it. And of course, my bosses kept asking me, are you sure you want to do this? Because once you get in, you can't get out. At that moment, for me, that's when the career choice came along. I remember consulting a lot with friends, family, pastors, priests. I consulted a lot by the time I arrived at the decision. And sadly though, many of the people I talked to wanted for me to go on the other side of life. But it was a Thursday, the 18th of October, when I decided, you know what, I am going with journalism and I have chosen this path. I am ready to forego everything. Yeah, so I haven't regretted that decision yet. Yes, it's going well. You have worked at Uganda's biggest media organizations, Nation Media Group and Vision Group. What would you say these organizations have in common? Similarities, a lot. Many of our newsrooms are organized the same way. That is, you come in, pitch your story idea, the editors decide whether they take it or not, and then if they take it, they fund you to do it. And then you do the story, and then after the story, they run it and you get your pay. Really, everything is the same. What are the 3 most important books you've read in your life? Wow, that's a tough one because I read a book every month. Most important, The 48 Laws of Power Robert Greene. Anyone that will want to participate in a space where their interests, be it political, commercial, personal, you need to learn the 48 laws of power because they are beautiful. They show you how society works and behaves. The next is The Social Animal, David Brooks. David Brooks is a columnist for New York Times. He wrote The Social Animal as a book that basically looks at the psychology of human beings. How do human beings arrive at decision making? Say if you decided right now to run off and slap the cameraman, what influences that decision? And it's always good to know what influences people's decisions because then you're able to tell what might happen in the near future. And news is really about predicting what might happen in the future, and actually it happens, and the generation happens too. So Social Animal is also a very, very, very strong book. The third book, and this is, there are only three. Hi. The third book, I will give it to Daniel Kalinaki for writing Uganda and the Unfinished Revolution. Not for the story, but for the bravery of telling the story of a man that has decided to sacrifice his life in a struggle to liberate is in quotes, Uganda. I mean, there's not so many journalists that leave their experience and then write a book. If you're a young Ugandan journalist looking for any book written by journalists of Uganda, you find a problem because it's only Charles Nyango, Daniel Kalinaki. And Daniel Kalinaki is more elaborate in the storytelling and also more elaborate in the fact-checking. So in three, I think that's it. Yes.
Wonderful choices. Describe your 20s so far in a few words.
20s, fun, a lot of fun, a lot of news. It's newsy. Lately it's become a little bit junky also because now I don't have much time to do the kind of things I used to like doing. I've sacrificed a lot of things, playing games, hanging out late night. I've had to make some sacrifices because of the way I'm structured now. But that would be the way I'd define them. They've been fun, they've been newsy, they've been junky, they've been worth it. There's been a lot of pain too, because I've had episodes of my life where I'm like, really, people shouldn't be treating me like this. But yeah, I've come through it.
And at what age would you want to get married?
At what age would I want to get married? I haven't set that one. You know, I've actually not thought about at what age I'd like to get married. But probably at 30 years of age, I think I'd be old enough. But also, I'd want to live with my children for some time. And our death rate here is 65, so I'd want to live 35 years to see them grow up, probably see some of my grandchildren. Apparently, it's legacy in this country to see your grandchildren, so I'd love to see my grandchildren, great-grandchildren perhaps. Yes, but 30 would be ideal.
And what do you think of the current trend that men are trash as an honorable man?
I wouldn't say I'm an honorable man. I don't know if I can vouch for myself, but this is my own personal feeling. And the way you interact with other people is really very personal, at a very personal level. So if you choose to see people as trash, you will see them as trash. If you choose to see the importance in people, no matter how many flaws they have in their life, you will always see what's beautiful about them. The whole men are trash thing is, one, it was founded with the idea of helping men, or that we have been told. It was founded with the idea of helping men to love their women, to respect women. But I find it hard to believe that you're going to consistently tell a younger generation that men are trash and expect them to live up to being men.
If you were appointed president of Uganda for 1 month, what is the first decision that you would make?
I've actually thought about that question. If I were president for Uganda, the first thing I would do is fire the entire civil service of this country. It's born out of, I have been to countries where things work. And the reason things work is because there's people who make things work. So the lifeline of a country, look at a country as a company. If you hire people who can't do the job, don't expect the job to get done. So I'd fire our civil service and recruit people, young and energetic people. Yes.
Wow, Raymond, it was lovely having you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for coming on the show.
All right, thank you so much for having me.